Kelley Wolf, best known as a cast member on MTV's Real World, New Orleans, and now a life coach and author, has found herself in the middle of a storm that seems to grow more turbulent with every passing week. On August 26, 2025, she was arrested in Summit County, Utah, after allegedly posting the personal phone number of her estranged husband, actor Scott Wolf, on social media. The arrest sent shockwaves through entertainment news, and the subsequent details of her release only added more intrigue to a divorce that has already become a dramatic public spectacle. Just 2 days later, on August 28th, she was released from Summit County Jail on a $5,000 bond. While walking out of custody offered Kelley a brief reprieve from the harsh reality of jail, the conditions of her release made it clear that this saga is far from over. Charges and the fallout. The charges leveled against Kelley are no small matter. She faces 2 Class B misdemeanors: electronic communications harassment and electronic disclosure of personal identifying information. The accusations stem from an incident where Kelley is said to have shared Scott's private phone number on her Instagram account, which immediately resulted in a flood of messages and phone calls directed at the actor. In fact, court documents revealed that Scott received 24 calls and multiple text messages within just 10 minutes of the number going public. This wasn't just any number either. Scott used it specifically to communicate with the couple's 3 children, making the violation even more personal and impactful. For Scott, this crossed a line that went beyond marital discord, affecting not only his own privacy, but the delicate channel he relied upon to maintain stability with their kids in the midst of a divorce. A difficult arrest.
I am calling because a friend of mine...
When authorities first approached Kelley at her home in Utah, the encounter itself played out in dramatic fashion. According to reports, she initially refused to come outside, speaking to deputies through a porch window. More than an hour passed before she finally emerged, no longer in her bathrobe, but dressed and ready to be taken into custody. The drawn-out standoff painted a picture of a woman unwilling to face what was happening, clinging to a sense of control, even as her life spiraled further into chaos. To some, it underscored her vulnerability. To others, it hinted at behavior that has been described as erratic throughout this divorce process. Release with strict conditions. Kelley's release 2 days later came with strict conditions set by the court. She was ordered to refrain from consuming alcohol or narcotics unless medically prescribed, participate in psychological or behavioral treatments as directed, and avoid contacting potential witnesses. Most significantly, she was prohibited from posting anything on social media until further notice, a direct response to the online behavior that led to her arrest in the first place. Adding to the weight of the moment, Scott filed for a temporary restraining order against Kelley on the very same day she walked free, reinforcing the idea that he sees her as a continuing threat to his peace of mind and the safety of their children. The message was clear. Even though Kelley had left jail, the walls around her personal freedom remained firmly in place. Divorce and custody battle. This arrest and release didn't happen in isolation. They are the latest developments in a divorce that has steadily unraveled in the public eye since June 2025. When Scott filed to end their 20-year marriage. In the weeks that followed, disturbing details emerged that cast a darker shadow over the split. Back in June, Kelley was reportedly detained under a 5150 psychiatric hold in California after an incident that suggested she was in mental distress. Around the same time, Scott sought legal protection through a restraining order, citing concerning behavior and even referencing a past incident where Kelley allegedly tried to choke a male family member. These claims painted a troubling picture of instability and heightened the stakes in what was already shaping up to be a bitter custody battle. By late June, the court awarded Scott temporary sole legal and physical custody of their 3 children: Jackson, who is 16, Miller, who is 12, and Lucy, who is 11. Kelley, while not stripped of her parental rights, was only permitted supervised visitation. Safe harbor therapists were brought in to oversee her interactions with the children, underscoring the court's concern for their emotional well-being. For Kelley, who has long presented herself publicly as a grounded, spiritual guide through her work as a life coach, the shift in her personal life has been stark. The image of calm wisdom she cultivated professionally now stands in contrast to the public narrative of chaos, arrests, and custody disputes. Kelley speaks out. Despite the serious allegations against her, Kelley has made efforts to defend her side of the story. In social media posts earlier this summer, she claimed she had been taken against her will and portrayed herself as a victim of a process she didn't understand. "I am not suicidal. I am no danger to anyone. I am so scared. So confused," she wrote, in a message that highlighted her sense of helplessness during her psychiatric hold. These statements resonated with some fans, who interpreted them as cries for help, rather than evidence of malicious intent. However, others saw them as attempts to deflect responsibility, particularly when weighed against the documented evidence of her online behavior and the growing list of legal restrictions placed on her. Her online presence has remained both a lifeline and a liability. In early July, she resurfaced with a more casual post, showing herself relaxing with a glass of wine and a cigarette, captioning the moment with a reflection about being ready to begin again. While the post seemed designed to project resilience, it also contradicted her previous statements about not drinking, raising more questions about her credibility and state of mind. The contradiction added fuel to the fire for critics who argue that Kelley's actions demonstrate inconsistency and a lack of accountability. In the end, Kelley's release from jail amid this divorce drama underscores how fragile the situation has become. Her next moves will be under a microscope, both legally and publicly. Any misstep on her part could carry lasting consequences, not just for her freedom, but for her role as a mother and her identity as a public figure. For now, she is free, but her freedom comes with strings attached, and the eyes of the court, the media, and the public remain fixed on what she does next.